All right, we're back on Get Up here. Let's play a little what if on this Football Friday. Hey, Ryan Clark, what if Justin Fields wins again, this time in Denver on Sunday?
It's going to make it easier for Mike Tomlin to do what he wants to do anyway, which is keep him in as the starter. Look, this is the best case scenario for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Russell Wilson isn't able to play. Justin Fields goes out and plays well in week 1. You can expand the playbook this week against the Denver Broncos. If they win this game, I think maybe even moving forward past next week, Justin Fields is your guy.
All right, Bay Bartholomew, let's go to Sunday night. What if Caleb Williams has a tough night again at the Texans on national TV?
Absolutely nothing. I mean, listen, you're married to this guy, and I don't care what you do. The entire organization has bought in and built, arguably the best roster that he can be. He has to stay within himself and understand this isn't USC. You can't be doing this spin-a-rooney right here because you can pay the price, especially with these dangerous defensive ends for Houston.
Yeah, so maybe the coaching is what you have to keep a close eye on there. We'll see in Chicago. Mike T, what if Joe Burrow and the Bengals lose at Kansas City and fall to 0-2?
Greedy, they will be absolutely fine. Our researcher, Krista, gave me a great stat. Since 2019, in the month of September, they are 6-12-1, and they still get to Super Bowls and championship games. They need, obviously, Jamar Chase to be fully healthy, T. Higgins to get back, and once they do that, they will be fine, and they'll be rolling even if they stumble in Kansas City.
You know who else thinks they'll be fine? They do. The Bengals were doing a lot of trash talking this week. Jamar Chase talking to the reporters. He was asked if the Bengals are, quote, in the mix in the AFC this season. Chase not only agreed, he went a lot further than that. Listen.
Do you feel like, do you feel like y'all are still top of the AFC, like in the mix to win the AFC this year? I mean, what do you feel like y'all are?
Yeah, 100%. Everybody knows that, bro. It's not no if. You know what I'm saying? We are the team to be in the AFC, and we know it, and we got to act like it, and we got to play like it too.
Okay, pretty good, right? That was nothing. How about another Bengal? This time it is Cam Taylor-Britt, the third-year corner, talking about speedy wide receiver Xavier Worthy for the Chiefs. Listen to this.
What does Xavier Worthy bring to this KC offense that you guys need to be prepared for?
That's about it. He can run straight. Run jet sweeps and just run straight. We can't do too much else, so that's about it.
Okay, so we got the Bengals lose to New England, who most people think is the worst team in the league. They're going against the two-time defending champions, and they've got a lot to say. What do we think of that, RC?
One, Cam Taylor-Britt really didn't lie.
Didn't lie.
But Mike Wallace, who played with the Pittsburgh Steelers, Coach Tomlin would always say when he was going for 80 yards, on one play he'd say, he got one trick, but it's a hell of a trick. And that's all that matters. Xavier Worthy doesn't have to have a large bag because when you run 4-2-1, your bag is large enough the time you step on the field. And you can touch the ball 2 times, 3 times, and have the biggest plays of the game. But the other piece of this is the Cincinnati Bengals, and not as much as Jamar Chase, they're speaking from a place of insecurity, right? Because when you are playing well, when you go out and you win, I'm going to speak so highly of the other team because I know that you can't be nothing but complimentary of me. I don't have to build myself up in the media. I don't have to make you think I'm not scared to go into Arrowhead. I don't have to make you think that I'm not apprehensive that we can go 0-2 because you already know it. But when you go out and you lay a dud and you lose to the New England Patriots, who everybody picked you to beat, and it's ugly and you can't stop the run and you're physically bludgeoned, and your all-pro quarterback doesn't play the level that you used to, and there's nobody to freaking throw the ball to, and you're throwing the Ishivas and freaking Irwin, you feel in some sort of way, if I don't tell y'all I'm good, y'all are going to believe the truth, which is that right now, at this moment, we ain't.
And that's the problem, right? Like, you go back a couple years, they go to the AFC Championship game in Kansas City. They're talking about Burrowhead Stadium, right? But they had just beaten them the year before. Like, they had reason to feel that way. They were red hot. Now they're a mess. Like, the Bengals are coming out of the offseason. They're not in any kind of shape to talk like this.
Mark, you brought up something that RC is going to remember well that this reminded you of.
I mean, first of all, to quote Billy the Kid, I'll make you famous. And you don't want Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes to make you famous.
Right.
First thing I thought was what the Anthony Smith is going on here, right? I can remember.
Don't you do that.
Why poke the bear? Like, listen, they made Anthony Smith famous. We remember this and know this, and RC had a a front row seat to 400 yards of an aerial assault and attack, and this is something that you don't want to be on the other end of. Why poke the bear? The back-to-back champions that went out and beat a team in your division that has Super Bowl aspirations. Why didn't you help your guy, man?
Let's make
took
sure
a stand and ate.
Everyone knows what he's talking about. This was when your teammate Anthony Smith had trash talk for Tom.
It wasn't. He was set up, Greeny.
Meaning.
He was set up. The people asked, could he win? And he's like, yes, we could win. And he's like, do you guarantee it? And he's like, kind of. I'm gonna fight Bill this week because he was dead wrong. Anthony Smith got cut after this. We sent him away. It was bad news.
And can I ask you, who's the new Tom Brady?
Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, that guy. Why would you poke the bear with that guy?
And I'll tell you what, the biggest thing about the Bengals guys, when your quarterback is fighting a Gatorade bottle, that is not a good sign.
He doesn't look healthy.
Wow.
He does not. Put the pics on the screen, Cindy. Yesterday, everyone was down playing this for me, RC. Joe Burrow does not look healthy, and he does not. His wrist, that's the way he's constantly doing this, doesn't look right. And he hasn't played that well.
I will say this also, too, though. It's not about being healthy. It just sometimes doesn't feel normal.
Yeah.
Right? When you have an ankle, when you have a knee, when you have a shoulder. When I told my shoulder, I was always doing this. And it wasn't that it wasn't healthy enough to play or I wasn't. It was that it feels different after surgery. Right. So I'm not going to overreact
But
to this.
I'd say this, like it's one thing for a safety or a linebacker to deal with something, but when it's your franchise quarterback and it's his throwing wrist, that's not the same.
That's the thing. If it feels different and it affects his throwing motion by this much, isn't that enough to wreck the whole season?
Yeah, but like if you watch the film though, the throw to Gesicki that he drops the touchdown couldn't be thrown any better. When they finally pushed the football down the field to Jamar Chase in the fourth quarter on the triple seam, the throw is exactly where it needs to be. He has to make different throws. They have to scheme differently. I'm not going to sit here and panic about Joe Burrow when I watched a ton of other quarterbacks throw the football way worse this week.
Very quick.
And we know that Cincinnati's right to have confidence. You just don't say the inside stuff outside.
It was just intrusive thoughts.
And that's something that you have to keep to yourself because you don't want to poke the bear, and that's not your line. That's a winner's line. You lost last week.
Xavier Worthy made only one run straight, but Pete runs it very, very fast. We're back on Get Up on a Football Friday. The New York Jets are a team many consider a Super Bowl contender. Monday night, they got to see what one actually looks like. The 49ers beat them 32-19 playing without Christian McCaffrey. Robert Saleh and the Jets defense have a lot of questions to answer, and Dan Orlovsky was asking some of them yesterday.
And this is a must-win for Robert Saleh. And if the Jets lose, and it looks like it did on Monday night.
Defense.
Oh, my gosh. It is going to become alarms sounding. There is no coach in the NFL with more pressure on them this weekend than Robert Saleh.
This weekend every year,
that seat is hotter than fish grease right now.
Hotter than fish grease right now, which is one of my favorite expressions from Larry Douglas. The pressure on the Jets who look like a contender. It's one thing, Bart Scott, to look the way they looked on the road against one of the best teams in the NFL and one of the best coaches. Why are you doing that?
I'm just looking at the gym. I cannot believe this guy, man.
We cannot believe what?
I can't believe this was my general manager, man.
Okay, put the pics up. I can see what he's seeing.
I can't even look at. I can't even
Bart, you're not
look at you right now. I know Bill's your guy, man, but come on, man.
If you
are you
put the
serious?
Pics on the screen, the reason that Bart is reacting is because Mike Tannenbaum is predicting that the Titans will win this game. Why is that?
Here's why.
I understand the Trojan horse over here, but not you.
Yeah, Bart, because you can't fix run defense so quickly. Look at the Miami Dolphins, right? Jacksonville last week, they rushed for 128 yards. Last night, Buffalo ran right down the field. James Cook was over 5 yards a carry. And to me, Bill Callahan, the father of the head coach of Brian Callahan, on Saturday night in that team meeting, they're going to say 4 yards or more, we're going to run it again. And until the Jets can prove that they could stop the run, Tennessee's going to be able to control the line of scrimmage. I think they win the game.
Was it an aberration? Was what we saw on Monday night an aberration, or are the Jets in real trouble defensively?
I would ask Mike T, name 5 teams that San Francisco wouldn't have done that to.
Well,
name 5. Name 5 teams that would have traveled to San Francisco on Monday Night Football without playing any preseason games that they wouldn't have done that.
Okay, well, first of all, whose fault is that? That's Robert Saleh's fault.
I'm asking you to name. See.
Wait, hold on a second here.
But But you're both. He can be right.
I like family squabbles.
Right.
Yeah. Y'all do that.
Who's right here? I mean, I have somewhat limited time. Who's right?
Will Levis? That's what
I think the Jets win, and I do understand what Mike T is saying when he looked at the run game. But I watched Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears against the Chicago Bears. It's not the same, right? It's not the same type of movement up front. It's also not the same sort of creativity that we see sometimes out of the run game in San Francisco. Not to mention, you prepared the entire week to play against Christian McCaffrey and some of the things they utilize when he's on the football field, and you don't find out till the day of the game. And so there's so many game plan things sort of put in place for that. I believe the Jets go and win. I believe Aaron Rodgers is more comfortable in the pocket this week than he was last, and defensively, they've now been challenged. They'll step up.
Talk to me, Grass.
Look, I mean, I think the Jets will play better on offense this week, right? I mean, Tennessee has some nice pieces. Like, they're a better team than I think a lot of people think.
Good pressure.
But they're not, they don't have like the same kind of 11 on defense, right? Like maybe a couple good corners, but I think they'll be able to move the ball. I just think they're a better team than Tennessee is, and I get what Mike T's saying about how everything isn't perfect there, but you got to beat this.
Bart, stay with me here. Forgetting your frustration with Mike Tannenbaum, give me that game. How is it the Jets wind up winning that game? We're looking at this against the Titans, short week, long road trip, all the rest of that.
Me and RC have both been part of great defenses, and we've all had that one game where that film session is manhood is challenged. You come off pissed off. This ass kicking that Tennessee about to take ain't got nothing to do. It ain't personal. It's just that you was the next people up, and I got cussed out. My coach and screamed at me, challenged my manhood, said he could cut me, replace me.
When Brick walks into that meeting, defensive coordinator Jeff Olbrick, when he walks into that meeting, he knows that all bets are off. We're taking the gloves off. I can tell you whatever I want to tell you. I can show you whatever I need to show you on film because you're going to be accountable yourself. If you're the New York Jets defense, you've been waiting for Aaron Rodgers to play a full game because for 3 years, you've been telling yourself and everybody's been telling you you're Super Bowl worthy. You are Super Bowl caliber. And you go out there and get embarrassed. You get punched in your mouth. You're going to have to step up this week and be different. And this team's been different before.
Yeah, and the flip side of that pancake is Brian Callahan saying to the Tennessee offense, look, we want to establish ourselves. Here's our opportunity to do it against this Jet defense.
Okay, I'm going to have Tannenbaum ejected at some point as the program continues.